Here we go. Hello everyone, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and this is my September pay-per-view review. For the month of September, I chose WWE's Unforgiven 2002 from the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Took place September 22nd, 2002. The theme song for this show was called Adrenaline by Gavin Rossdale. On commentary, you got for the Raw team, you got Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. For SmackDown, you got Michael Cole and Taz. So, we start things off with an 8-man tag match as Kane, Booker T, Goldust, and Bubba Ray Dudley defeat the Un-Americans, William Regal, Christian, Test, and Lance Storm in a very, very good match. Very good, fast-paced match. Everyone got their licks in. Kane's the one who ends up getting the choke slam, so there was that. It was a great match overall. The Un-Americans, though, yeah, their whole gimmick of, oh, we hate America, we got a reverse American flag. Yeah, it was definitely the most creative thing we saw during this post-9/11 society we had. Next up, we get a couple of backstage segments with Billy and Chuck, with Stephanie McMahon talking about the interpromotional match, and the same could be said with Raw having 3-minute warning, or Rosie and Jamal with Rico, who had just jumped ship to Raw following the wedding ceremony for Billy and Chuck that happened on SmackDown, where Bischoff disguised himself as a priest and, well, infiltrated the wedding by having Rosie and Jamal attack Billy and Chuck in the ring. So, our next match on the show was for the Intercontinental Championship as Chris Jericho takes on Ric Flair in a SummerSlam rematch, this time for Jericho's Intercontinental Championship. So, this was okay, I guess. Jericho ended up winning. He faked out Flair by pretending his leg was hurt from the figure 4. And, he low-blowed Flair and then locked in the walls of Jericho. And you see Ric Flair tap out to the walls of Jericho. Nothing more to be said here. Next up, you get into a really good match here as Eddie Guerrero defeats Edge in a really good match. And heck, Edge competed with a freaking concussion, okay? After Eddie knocked his lights out on SmackDown with a chair shot. So, this was a very, very good match between Edge and Eddie. Eddie Guerrero and Edge definitely had a great series of matches in 2002. Very underrated series, if I might add. Next up, you get the interpromotional match as Rosie and Jamal with Rico from 3-minute warning defeat Billy and Chuck. And if Billy and Chuck win, then Eric Bischoff would have to kiss Stephanie McMahon's ass. Then if Rosie and Jamal won, Stephanie McMahon would have to partake in hot lesbian action. Yes, Bischoff was doing this around the time that he took over as the GM of Raw. Because he had just took it over by the time back in July, I believe. Yeah, it was back in July Bischoff took over as the Raw GM. So, that being said, Rosie and Jamal end up beating Billy and Chuck, and that, you know what that means. Stephanie later on tonight would have to partake in hot lesbian action. So, next up we have Triple H defeating Rob Van Dam to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. So obviously after Brock had jumped ship to SmackDown to be only exclusive to SmackDown with the WWE Championship, leaving Raw without a champion. So, it So, Bischoff was forced to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship just so Raw would have their own champion. And let alone and behold, he gave the title to Triple H. And let alone and behold, Rob Van Dam ended up being Triple H's first challenger for a pay-per-view title defense, after Van Dam won a fatal 4-way on Raw, defeating the likes of The Big Show, Jeff Hardy, and Chris Jericho. That's saying a lot. So, the match was fine. Van Dam did these moments where he mocked Triple H, he spat out the water, mocking Triple H's signature spitting of the water that Triple H does whenever he makes his entrance. You saw lots of chain wrestling, you saw high flying. It was a fine match. The ending, of course, you see Ric Flair hit Van Dam with the sledgehammer, and, you know, he joins forces with Triple H. This is the beginning of Evolution. You know, this was like Evolution in the works. So, like, Van Dam, or Orton and Batista had not joined yet, because they would join following this, you know, in 2003 when we get into 2003. Next up, you get a match for the women's title as Trish Stratus defeats Molly Holly to become the new women's champion in a very solid match. So a very solid match between Trish Stratus and Molly Holly. Honestly, one of their best matches against each other, or shall I say this was just like a hidden gem of a match. Anyway, Trish Stratus would, I believe, get the Little Kim theme that we would all come to know of her a month later at No Mercy, where Little Kim would have that song play for Trish. So yeah, Trish Stratus ended up winning. And, you know, I love Trish and I love Molly, and congratulations yet again to Molly Holly for getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. Next up, you have Chris Benoit defeating Kurt Angle in a very good match. Now, this stems from the fact that both men were hit with a stink face in the very same match. First, Benoit held Angle down to get stink faced by Rikishi, and then Angle returned the favor. Both ate a stink face from Rikishi. Benoit said, "I want a match with Kurt Angle." Stephanie McMahon grants Benoit his wish, and he gets a match with Kurt Angle. And we actually see them work really well against each other in this match. I mean, Benoit and Angle have never had a bad match against each other, and hell, this is like a hidden gem of this rivalry. I mean, they've had a lot of classic matches. Their cage match on SmackDown, their 2 out of 3 falls match at Judgment Day. Hell, don't even get me started on the Backlash match from Backlash 2001. That one was awesome. And, of course, their Royal Rumble 03 match. And I will talk about it when I plan to do 2003's Royal Rumble, but I don't know when I plan to do the 03 Royal Rumble. Next up, we have hot lesbian action, as Stephanie McMahon has to partake in hot lesbian action. Now, Bischoff originally was planning to have a couple of lesbians make out with Stephanie, but then Bischoff said, "Nope, you don't get to kiss these pretty ladies. In fact, you get to kiss the ugliest, fattest lesbian I found for you." So, out comes Rikishi dressed up as a woman. Yes, Rikishi was dressed up in drag. I mean, you weren't fooling anyone, Quiche. And yes, Rikishi and Stephanie do make out, but it doesn't technically count as HLA because Rikishi was not a woman. Rikishi was a man dressed up in women's clothing and wearing latex skin or something like that. And Rikishi then super kicked Bischoff, and then Bischoff ate a stink face with Rikishi still wearing the dress. Honestly, you weren't fooling anyone. I mean, honestly, everyone could see through that stupid disguise. So basically, Stephanie just outsmarted Bischoff, and Bischoff got humiliated. Even though Bischoff won on this show, Stephanie should have still done the stipulation anyway. Now we get to the main event for the WWE Championship as Brock Lesnar takes on the Undertaker. Yes, you have Champion Lesnar taking on Challenger Undertaker. After Undertaker won a #1 contenders match on SmackDown, well, things between Lesnar and Taker got much more personal when Paul Heyman told The Undertaker, how are you going to take care of your wife if you're a vegetable? And that Brock is going to make you a vegetable. Make you into a vegetable, I mean. And Brock even put his hand on Sarah's pregnant womb. Yeah, the image of that burnt into my skull after watching this show. Like, that this happened on SmackDown in the build-up to Unforgiven. Now the actual match itself. It was a hard-hitting, physical main event. You see chair shots get introduced a lot in this main event. Brock used the chair first to bust open Taker, and then Taker would get the chair, and he would bust open Brock after 2 shots with the chair. Well, technically, Undertaker got busted open by the ring post, not the chair. But then the referee decided to throw the match out, and there was not a decisive winner. Instead, a brawl ensued in which Undertaker threw Lesnar through the Unforgiven sign in the middle of the stage, and the show ends there. So, yeah, that was Unforgiven 2002. Final thoughts, definitely one of the better Unforgiven shows I've reviewed. I've only reviewed 2 of the Unforgiven shows, this and Unforgiven 05 back in 2018. But anyway, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I will see you guys next time for WCW's Halloween Havoc 2000 in October. See ya!